separating the grain from the chaff, the husk from the paddy. The story of the lives of Jaiprakash Sahu, his wife, and countless others at the mercy of the sea that both supports livelihoods and devours them. For countless faceless fishermen in settlements like Ramayapatnam along the Odisha coastline, the rising seas pose a continuous and escalating threat. Rising sea levels have swallowed up land. Acidic waters have eaten into homes. Livelihoods have been battered and bruised. Of the 120 houses in the fisherman colony, almost half have crumbled, eroded, collapsed. But life goes on, albeit with the fear and uncertainty. Ocean levels rose 91.3 millimeters since 1993. And there's been a visible acceleration too. From 1.4 millimeters per year through most of the 20th century to more than double of that, 3.6 millimeters per year between 2006 and 2015. And that means that the Bay of Bengal is at Kolkata's doorstep. Island bodies like Paradeep being lost forever. Already, India's eastern coastline, states along the Bay of Bengal have felt it hard. Focus on Andhra, Odisha and West Bengal that have been the victims of three very real phenomena.
Due to increase in temperature, the glaciers are melting. Apart from that, the volume of due to thermal expansion also, the ocean level is rising. Because of sea level rise, the water comes into the land area and inundate many areas. Because of sea level rising, the water that is inundated, it is coming to the land to the large extent. As a result, it is very hazardous to the coastal parts.
We move along the coastline to find the imprints of the rising sea levels. The coastline along village Sattabhaiya in Kendrapada district of North Odisha stands out as the perfect testimony to the blow that rising sea levels have dealt to the local communities.
आमर जो 17 गाँ थिला 17 गाँ को नहीं कि गोटे रेवेन्यू में जो पंचायत हेतिला 17 गाँव रु 500 गाँ पूरा निश्चिन्न हो गला 1971 साइक्लोन रे
जितना खेती था उधर सब चला गया सब सल्ट वाटर उधर हो गया नुना हो गया उसको
आम आ टंका पैसा कोठी आनिमु आम को पुसीब किए आम पुसिया तो कहला हला पुओ तो चली गला संसार
Sattabhaiya used to stand here. It used to be a cluster of 7 villages founded by 7 brothers that gave it its name. Fishing villages with a vibrant 700-strong community. Fisherfolk who were fairly well off.
सेठी आम पूर्वपुरुष माने बहुत सुख स्वच्छंदरे थिले अभाव किछि जान नथिले रोग कोन जान नथिले
सर सातबायर जेतरो थिलु हमर समुद्र खाइ नथला भल अवस्था थिलु सर
This temple to the deity Ma Panchu Barahi stands testimony to a withered grandeur. The place was abandoned completely in 2018. Rewind to 2015, the same temple, the same water tube well. The rising sea levels were but a distant threat then. 7 years is all it has taken for that to turn real. The residents of Sattabhaiya have been rehabilitated 12 kilometers inland at Bagapattiya. Thrown away from the sea, life has slowed down to a miserable crawl for many. Climate change has changed their lives forever. Ramayapattam is a small fishing village on Odisha-Andhra border. People here survive on modest means. Global warming has affected their lives too. Their story is similar to that of Sattabhaiya. They too are on the verge of becoming climate refugees. Along the coastline in district Ganjam, rising sea levels are swallowing up land.
इटे तो हाफ किलोमीटर भांगी गला घर मन 200-300 घर पलैला जहाँ से गाड़ वाल बांधे बोल कहते गाड़ वाल बांधि पारनी अब इटा नहीं गले और कत घंटा गाँव पलैबे कही पारिनी
5 वर्ष आइसे देखकर फलाइसे के किछ देबनी 3टा छाया आइकरे समुद्र भीतर आइकरे फलाइला.
What protects them now is only this sandbar. The power and majesty of the waves on one side, their fragile habitat on the other. A recent study by the National Centre for Coastal Research found that Odisha has lost 28% of 480 kilometers of its coastline between 1990 and 2016. Kendrapada alone has lost 31 kilometers of land.
We have seen in the Odisha coast is mostly erosion. If you go to Ganjam district, Podampata area, you see it visibly there is a erosion in the coast. If you look at the Satbhaya and other areas of Kahirmatha coast, very big sand dunes has been eroded in the recent past. It is a big concern. And the beach flora which binds the soil are also not being effective in controlling that.
The answer ultimately perhaps lies here. In the Sundarbans of the West Bengal estuary, the meeting point of the Ganges and the Bay of Bengal.
This is the most dynamic mangrove ecosystem on the earth. We have 10,000 square kilometers, the largest mangrove forest, where the people are living inside. A large number of people, 4.4 million people are living inside the mangrove forest and dependent on the resources available. But very unfortunately, the mangroves are disappearing in Sundarbans.
On a planet with increasing temperatures, where rising sea levels and climate extremes have become the norm, mangrove forests play a key role, cushioning coastal communities, protecting livelihoods. They are especially important in the GBM Delta, the confluence of the Ganga, Brahmaputra and Meghna rivers, where the sea level rise is recorded as among the fastest on the planet. It is a critical role that the mangroves play. Mangrove forests planted on the periphery create a wall-like structure, dissipating winds and protecting coastal villages. Mangrove trees are both saline and sweetwater tolerant. Their roots create a solid web that the seawater cannot penetrate.
The area where we have worked, we have generated a semi-restored forest. It has the embankment just beside that. And even after Amphan, even after years, that embankment is not broken out. But just beside that area, if you see closely, you can see there is the naked stretch of that same embankment, contiguous, it's contiguous, and the naked stretch. Just in front of that, there is no mangroves, and you say it's completely broken down.
For authorities in Odisha, enhancing mangrove plantations and battling mangrove degradation is a key thrust area. Funds have come in under the centre's afforestation programs, besides the state's own financing activities.
Mangrove plantation along with high coastal embankment is the solution. But then it is so cost intensive that you can't do it everywhere. So therefore you have to also look at the indigenous practices, and you must come up with low cost interventions whereby you can minimize the sea erosion, coastal erosion.
Sensitization, education, implementation, and the planning development with a big focus on not aggravating the sea action. It is a constant uphill battle, yet one that we cannot afford to lose. The Odisha coastline is being devoured by the oceans, slowly but surely. It is a wake-up call like no other. To make environment protection an agenda and an itinerary that mankind learns to live with. For creation and implementation of policies that provide sustenance against this huge challenge. Do not underestimate the power of these oceans. Do not underestimate the raw ferocity of nature hitting back for mankind's sake.